Welcome to Module 6, where we will be looking at semicolons. Semicolons often seen as maybe the most mysterious piece of English punctuation. Not many people really know how to use them correctly, but they are a powerful punctuation mark that will help you connect closely related ideas and clarify complex lists. When it's used incorrectly, it looks awful. It makes your writing clunky, but when used correctly, they can make your writing more sophisticated and organized. So, in this module, we'll explore what semicolons are, when to use them, and how to avoid some common mistakes. So, a semicolon is a piece of punctuation that looks like a winky eye, and it's used to link closely related independent clauses or to separate items in a complex list. So, two different uses for this piece of punctuation. So, for example, linking closely related clauses, I have a big test tomorrow, semicolon, I need to start studying now. The semicolon replaces a conjunction and creates a connection between the two ideas. And then for the list, if we have a look at that example, we visited Paris, France, semicolon, Rome, Italy, semicolon, and Madrid, Spain. So let's explore more in detail those uses of semicolons in your writing. So first of all, they're used to link closely related independent clauses. So a semicolon connects two ideas that are complete sentences, but closely related in meaning. For example, she loves reading, semicolon, her favorite book is Pride and Prejudice. Notice how both sides of the semicolon make sense on their own, but they're closely related so they can be joined with that semicolon. Notice how after the semicolon there is no capital letter, so it actually creates a compound sentence. It's not a full stop. It doesn't divide the two clauses into two sentences. It makes one longer connected sentence. The semicolon can be seen to replace a conjunction. It can be seen to create a smoother connection between the two clauses. Semicolons are also used before conjunctive adverbs or transitional phrases. So when two independent clauses are joined together with a word like however, therefore, or as a result, you can use a semicolon before the word to link the two clauses and make them into one sentence. Again, no need for a capital letter after the semicolon. For example, he was tired, semicolon, however, he continued to work. The semicolon ensures clarity by marking the boundary between the two ideas, but also connects them together. And finally, and this is a different use of a semicolon, is you can use it to separate items in a complex list. Now, a complex list is a list where there are already commas. So where the items themselves contain commas, we could use semicolons to separate the items. For example, the meeting included John, the manager, Sarah, the accountant, and Mike, the CEO. Here the commas are already doing the job of adding extra information about each of the people going to the meeting. So using the commas also for separating the items in the list is going to make the sentence confusing. So we use semicolons instead to replace the commas to ensure that items are separated. The semicolons separate each item, and this prevents confusion caused by the additional commas. There are situations where semicolons should not be used, and we're going to have a look at some common mistakes now. So first of all, don't use semicolons between dependent and independent clauses. Both sides of the semicolon, the clause before and the clause after, they must be able to make sense on their own. So an incorrect sentence using a semicolon would be, Because it was raining, semicolon, we stayed inside. You can see that because it was raining doesn't make sense on its own, so we can't use a semicolon after it. The correct way to write that would simply be because it was raining, comma, we stayed inside. A comma is the correct choice. Secondly, if you have used a coordinating conjunction, such as for, and, nor, but, yet, so, then we should not use a semicolon with it. You either use a coordinating conjunction or you use a semicolon. So for example, I enjoy running, semicolon, and I love cycling would be wrong because we have the conjunction and a semicolon. We never need both. The correct way to write that would be I enjoy running, comma, and I love cycling. Or you could remove the conjunction and write I enjoy running, comma, I love cycling also. And finally, there's no need to use semicolons in simple lists to separate items. So it'd be incorrect, for example, to write I need apples, semicolon, bananas, semicolon, and oranges. They're just not necessary. Use commas. So our key takeaways for semicolons are: use them to link closely related independent clauses and to separate items in complex lists. Avoid using semicolons with dependent clauses or coordinating conjunctions. And finally, use them sparingly. Really think about where you're placing them and whether or not they're necessary. Let's practice using them then. Have a look at those sentences on the right-hand side and decide if semicolons are necessary, and if so, where they should go. Pause the video now, and then when you're ready, press play and we will go through the correct answers. Okay, here are the correct answers. So I love coffee, semicolon, it helps me wake up. I also enjoy tea, semicolon, it's relaxing. The semicolons are linking closely related independent clauses there, so semicolons between them is correct. We would not have a semicolon between it helps me wake up and I also enjoy tea because they are not closely linked. Secondly, we visited London, England, Paris, France, and Rome, Italy. The semicolons are being used to separate items in this complex list because there are already commas present. Number 3, he wanted to win, semicolon, however, he wasn't prepared to work hard. The semicolon comes before the conjunctive adverb, however, to connect the two clauses. Number 4, the weather was perfect. We decided to have a picnic. The semicolon comes between perfect and we, and it links two closely related independent clauses. Number 5, I baked a cake and it turned out delicious. No semicolon is needed here because the sentence uses a coordinating conjunction and with a comma. Well done if you got all of those right. If you didn't get all of them right, don't worry. Go back, have a look at the semicolons chapter in the ebook, have another watch of the video. And when you're ready, have a go at the semicolons quiz to check your understanding. Great work on completing this module. In the next module, module 7, we'll explore colons and their role in linking clauses and introducing information and creating lists. See you there.